My mobility routine has changed quite a bit over the years. I used to be very big in, let's call it stretching, and then I adapted to thinking more about potentiating the body within certain mobility ranges. And I'm still a fan of 90-90, shin box rotations, pigeon pose, ankle mobility, all that stuff. However, I've come across this since working with Sam and more of a neurologic way of looking at things. And at the end of the day, it's really kind of similar to cars, but it's a little less slow. And so I find that it's a little more friendly to folks. But at the end of the day, you're just getting each joint moving through range of motion, and motion is lotion. So I'm going to start here and show you what this quick 10-minute or less routine can do for you a day. First one we're going to do here is a diaphragm stretch. You're going to get with your knees about 90 degrees bent, back flat, and then you're going to flatten your back out so you can't fit your arm underneath. And you're going to take both arms, bring them over your head, stretch, keep that back flat on the ground, and you're going to take a big inhale through the nose. And then exhale all the air out of your lungs. You should feel your abs and side abs kick on. Do 5 breaths on here. We're going to do some dorsal glides. So you're going to lay back flat, hands to your sides, and you're just going to rock your feet. Preferably have shoes because that helps create the friction, and let the rest of your body kind of go limp. So this is going to work on your ankles, but as well as getting your upper body, neck, and everything nice and loose. And you're just rocking this for about 30 seconds. Work on the hips. So hold on to something steady. Keep this opposite leg that's on the ground kind of nice and locked. I won't say locked out, but engaged. And then you're going to rotate your foot and think about from the hip. Don't turn your foot and then start putting your foot. You really want to rotate from the hip joint. And this is just going to be internal and external rotation. So you can see my shin, my knee, and my foot are moving in alignment. And that's the main focus you want to do. And we're going to do 20 total reps on each side. We're going to do hip extension and flexion. The biggest key on this one is you want to make sure you keep your ribs tucked. You don't want to get that extension by flaring your back because you're eliminating the reason for the movement. So if you don't get as much extension, that's okay. The focus is you want to think about you're actively controlling this. So you can do it at a fairly quick pace, but you want to think about lifting that knee and pushing that knee by engaging that glute back. And you're going to do 20 on each side. So now that we're done with hips, we're going to do some knee flexion extension. You want to pick your knee up just slightly, and you're going to extend and then bring back. And on the extension, you want to think about activating that quad. So you're pushing actively that foot out. And when you're bringing it back, you want to think about actively pulling that so you're feeling it in your hamstring. And you're just going to do 20 reps each side. Down to the feet, we're going to do ankle extension and flexion. So you're going to go up and down. So get this leg straight. And like I said, think about really pushing that foot down and pulling it up. None of these movements you want to sit there and plopping around or think of it like passively. You're actively engaging this muscle to move it up and down. And you're going to do 30 total reps on this. We want to get the ankle moving in the other direction. This one can be a little tougher to connect to, but you want to do inversion and exversion. So you're here, inversion, eversion, excuse me. So you're turning it in and out. And don't do that by like turning your leg. You want to think about as if you were stretching your ankle on the floor like this. This is the movement you're trying to counter or to create. And you're going to do the same thing, 20 to 30 on each side. We're going to do ankle circumduction, which basically fancy term for circles. So you're going to draw the biggest circles you can with your toes. The biggest thing is try to isolate that ankle, but also make sure it's nice and smooth in big circles. And you're going to do 20 each direction. And just keep in mind that you want to keep it smooth. So you don't want to get herky-jerky with it. You want to make sure you try to keep it nice and smooth. So now we're going to do some lateral medial stretches on the ankles. So think about the inversion, eversion, same thing, but you're going to use the ground. So you're going to kind of hold this here, roll that ankle over, let it stretch for 3 to 5 seconds. And you're going to do 10 on each side. Excuse me, 5 on each side. And the way you do the other side is you have to spread your legs out a little bit more and then you roll it to the inside. And try to keep that knee nice and locked in. Don't let it bend too much. But you'll feel a stretch on both sides. Move to the shoulders. So you're going to do shoulder flexion, extension. The biggest key points is don't let your back arch back to get the mobility in the back because that's going to come from thoracic spine, not your actual shoulder. You want to come the shoulder up with your hand facing your face And then as you bring it down, you want your palm to face away. So it's here, 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 here. And you can start nice and slow, but you can actually get to where you're speeding this up a little bit. A lot of these movements are to get blood pumping, but this also is going to help a little bit with your shoulder being strong while moving quicker, which happens sometimes in life. We're going to do shoulder abduction, adduction. So for here, you're going to hold out like you're a waiter holding out a tray, and you're going to bring your arm across and out, and try to keep it as level as possible. And like I said, with all these movements, start slow and controlled to feel it, and then as you get better at it, remember you can speed up the movement, but you want to stay in control. You want to think about actually moving this shoulder in and out versus just letting it hang and flop it around. We're going to do shoulder rolls backwards and forwards. So you're going to hold your hands here, and then you're going to roll your shoulder forward as full big circles as you can. So think about your delts here are the point of contact, and this is, you're creating the biggest circle that you can with these. Nice and controlled. And you're going to do 20 each direction. So forward, and then you're going to go backwards. So this is going to really help with you creating scap control and get some nice blood pumping to these. So now that we're done with our shoulders, we're going to get some elbow flexion extension in here. So you're going to start with your hands, palms facing you. You're going to bring your elbows down and turn them away. And then as you get used to the movement, you're going to get more fluent. Same thing, keep them tucked. And think about a good rotation in those wrists, and this will get those elbow joints feeling nice and smooth. Work on some spine health here. So you're going to get your feet about shoulder width apart. Hold your hands out to your sides like this. Make sure your shoulders are rolled down and back. And you're just going to lean as far as you can and stop. You're going to do 10 on each side. And we're going to be working on some thoracic mobility. So take your thumbs, turn them in and put them in your chest. You're going to lead with your head first. So you're going to turn your head and then your shoulders, but you want to keep your feet planted and try to keep those hips from turning too much, because that's where you're going to get the mobility from. You want to make sure you get it from the thoracic spine. So keep those glutes nice and engaged, and that'll kind of help. But I'm going to lead with the head and turn. Lead with the head and turn. You'll do 10 repetitions on each side. So we're going to do some calf pops or pogos. For these, I would say start with 30 seconds, even a minute. You want to eventually get up to 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm a fan of breaking this up. So even if you do 1 minute, 15 seconds rest, however you do it, but eventually you do want to get more long duration impacts. But it's literally just as simple as this. You're trying to get off the ground as quick as possible, and think about pulling your toes to the sky as you come off the floor. Just like you're jumping rope, essentially. And you're going to do, eventually get up to 2 minutes of those. And if you're feeling froggy, 3. Last exercise is going to be the foot rocker ISO. This is going to work on toe mobility. So you're going to take your toes, put them up on a small dumbbell. The biggest thing you want to remember, though, is you want your 3 points of contact. So I still want this near my pinky, near my big toe, and my heel still all on the ground. So this is all coming from my toes. You're going to get on one foot, keep this leg straight, and you want to kind of lean forward just a little bit to get a little bit of a stretch. Now, you want to think about flexing your foot. So you're not just sitting in this stagnantly. You want to think about kind of flexing that foot, but keep your toes relaxed. So kind of think about flexing your ankle more so. Now, what I'll say is if you're doing this correctly, what you should feel over time is definitely a little bit of Achilles stretch. So you'll definitely start to feel it in the Achilles, especially after you've been doing it for a minute or two. The goal here is 2 minutes on each foot. I hope this helps. Unfortunately, in our modern world, we have a ton of awesome things, but one of them is not movement. A lot of folks, especially if you don't have any sort of workout or anything embedded in your day, you're getting out of bed, you're walking down the same set of stairs, you're getting in the same car, you're sitting at the same desk, and we're just not moving our joints through range of motion. I mean, think about how many times a day that you're reaching your shoulder over your head or, popping off the ground, whatever it may be. And this is just incorporating that a little bit each day just to get a little bit of fluid and blood moving into those areas. So give this a try for a week or two and let me know how you feel.